Okay, we're going to start the frame. I've practiced this, and I think the best way, the biggest piece of advice I could give you actually, is to start with your piece flat on a table. Just make sure it's all smoothed out, make sure everything is sitting in the right place, make sure that it's flat and everything is the right way up, because you're kind of going to be working behind the petals and the leaves, and it's really easy to twist things, and as I found out twice, halfway around realise you're working on the wrong side of the work. It's difficult to explain, but when you try it you'll see what I mean. Also, make sure that you have your stitch markers in place from that little background there that we worked into the flowers, because those are going to be your sort of start point of your repeat. There's 2 repeats on this. We do one half of the frame of round 1, and then we repeat it again for the second half. So there's a little tips to get set up and ready to go. I am working the original colourway, so I'm going to be working with oatmeal, but of course you can work whatever you like. So I've got my flower at the 12 o'clock position, and I'm going to just bend the petals, the top petals forward, so I can see my stitch marker, because that is where I'm going to join in my yarn. Okay, so I will pull that out because I can see where I'm starting, put my hook in there. So everything is still flat on the table, and this is, like I said, this is what I would recommend to keep everything in the orientation it needs to be in, just to get this first round of the frame in, and then you're good to go. Okay, so for this, starting off here with the oatmeal, with whatever colour you're using, the first stitches do actually count as, the first chains do count as stitches. So I've just crossed my cut yarn over my working yarn there, and that will secure things nicely. So I'm going to make 1 chain and 5 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and that's going to count as 1 treble and 3 chain. All right, so I'm going to now go, obviously this is written really clearly in your pattern, but just in case you want to have a little look at the placement, this is what we're going to do here, because the placement can be a little bit confusing to start with. Have a practice, or just watch the video through so you know where we're going. Okay, so we've made our 6 chain, and we're now going to make 1 treble into the next stitch. And what you're doing really is you're creating, if I show you the back of the work here, you're creating this little sort of open framework around the flowers. Okay, right, so 1 treble into the next stitch, 3 chain, and I'm going to skip the next chain space. We're still behind that flower, skip that chain space, and 1 treble into the next stitch. Okay, we're not going to do anything with the stitch after, and we're just going to repeat that step. So 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, skip the chain space and put 1 treble into the next stitch. Okay, so far so good. So if you look, if I just pull that forward, we've created that little framework behind there. Okay, so we are now, I just want to get the tail out of the way. Right, so again, if I put everything in the orientation that it should be on my desk, you will see that if I move these petals to the side, you will see that we've kind of now come down, and my hook is, and the end of the stitches is sort of falling into that chain space before the double, treble, 3 together. All right, and that's where we're going to work next. All right, so we're going to put in and work close to that, because there's a big space you could choose to go in there. We don't want to be all the way up here. We want to be kind of close down here. So I'm going to put 1 treble in there, and then 2 double trebles, so it's twice around the hook. We're working UK terminology. And just the reason for doing that close is because we need to pull that flower into the correct position. Okay, got a little knot in the yarn there, but we'll let it go. So if I then let go of that, you'll see that my flower is sitting correctly. The stem is nice and straight, and we've moved our stitches on a bit. I'm just going to scoot them over a little closer to the double treble three together there, because that's where they need to sit. Okay, so far? Good. Right, we're going to now put 3 double treble into this next singles chain space here. So between the little sort of tiny leaf and the big leaf, just straight over into there. And all we're really doing is we're just filling in and trying to kind of square off this design a bit so we can get a frame on it. I don't know whether I'm a little bit close on the camera. I'll sort that out in a minute. Okay, so 3 double treble in there. And I'll stop again and you'll see what's happening as we work. So we're just, like I said, creating some straight edges, as you can see, to be able to build that frame out. Okay, we're going to work behind the leaf with 3 chain just to bring us around to our next position, 1, 2 and 3, and we will then put 5 treble into this nice big chain space here. Again, just filling up the spaces, making some nice straight lines. Once you kind of, for me, it was starting behind that petal and just sort of working out what was going on there. And once I did that, it's really explanatory in the pattern anyway. But if you were just sort of scratching your head a bit, probably by now you're like, oh yeah, now I see. Okay, and another tip is, and I'm going to show you this, I shouldn't, but I'm gonna, it's all behind the scenes stuff. I write mine out in a sort of list rather than sort of trying to work from the pattern. So that also helps me because I can separate out each command or each element of the pattern. So that's another little tip in case, when it's something complex like this, I do tend to get a little bit lost. So I've worked that out, that it's easier for me if I write it out myself. Okay, so 5 chain behind the next leaf, and again we'll mirror what we've done before, which is put 5 treble into that nice chain space. Okay, just hold that leaf down. If you end up working in front of that leaf, don't worry, it will just pop straight through the chain space, so don't worry about that. Okay. Okay, we're coming behind this leaf with 3 chain, and what you'll see is we're now we're now near those lovely little leaves. So we're going to do that double treble thing again, which is fairly familiar. So 3 double treble in this 1 chain space, so before that little leaf, and we did this, didn't we, the other way around on the other side. So hopefully fairly familiar already. My yarn is caught as always. So 1, 2 and 3, and we're now going to go and do the 2 double treble and 1 treble close to this part. Do you remember that from when we came out of the side of the leaf? I think you probably do. So 2 double treble, 1 and 2 and 1 treble. And we are now ready already. If you look, if I move this all as it should be, we are now ready already to come back behind that leaf. So we've created a corner and sort of 2 sides here of our frame. We're now ready to come back behind the flower, not the leaf. All right, so we're now going to do 1 treble into the next stitch. So the next one that we get to, which is here, we're going to put 1 treble into that stitch. 3 chain, skip the next stitch, not going to do anything in there, 1 treble into the next stitch along, which is in here, 1 and 2, 3 chain, 2, 3, and then 1 treble into the next stitch, which will be the stitch before, sorry, it will be the marked stitch, I beg your pardon, it will be the marked stitch. So the next treble goes into your marked stitch, and you are ready then to start that repeat again. Let me just show you. Okay, you can see we've made 2 corners, oh sorry, 2 sides, and we are attached behind both flowers at this point. So sorry, I've missed, this should be a 3 chain on the end here, 1, 2, 3, and now you are ready to start your repeat again. So your everything is as it should be, providing you make your last stitch on that repeat into the marked stitch, you will be good to go and ready to repeat that without any problems at all. So hopefully now you can see the sort of structure of it, and I'll flip it over again to show you. You can see we start behind the flower, and we make that sort of those 3 little boxes, that little open work part, and then we just start filling in the gaps, and it's going to be the framework for the very first round to just create a good solid frame. All right, so I'm going to finish this up and we'll move on to round 2. Okay, I'm on the very last part of the round 1 of the frame. So I've done my last 3 chain, no, I've done 3 chain, and I'm now going to do my last treble into the next stitch. Okay, 1 final 3 chain, and then I need to join into the 3rd chain that we made at the beginning to close the round. Okay, do not fasten off. We're going to carry on with this yarn in the next round, but let's just have a little look at what we've done. So from the front you can see we're starting to get glimpses of the frame coming through, and if I just flip that over to the back, you can see that little corner leaf is very curly, but we will take care of that when we do the blocking, so don't worry. You can see that we've got this open work behind each flower, and we've got the clusters that we've made in the chain spaces and other spaces to start giving us the square of a frame, of a finished motif. So that was round 1. We're still attached with oatmeal here. Let's carry on to round 2.